welcome to episode 120 of Scar Bearers. I'm Chris DT Gordon, and you could probably guess I'm going to say it. It's a blessing to have you here with me today, because it is. I'm so happy you're here to join us in our conversation. Helping me out, of course, are Nate and Britton Barron. And if you want them to help you on your projects, you can reach out to them at Nate Barron. Well, as you're listening to this, folks, we are in the fall season. We're getting back into school, back into sports and other busyness. And with that busyness comes pressures, comes struggles, comes challenges. And if my message of the attitude of gratitude can serve your organization, school, or business, please reach out to me at chrisdtgordon.com or chris@chrisdtgordon.com. So my message of hope and inspiration and gratitude can help your group, your members, your students increase their gratitude, positivity, and resilience to handle those struggles. Well, speaking of handling struggles, I have my new friend Cory Chadwick with me today, if I can talk correctly. Cory, how are you today?
Hey, Chris, how you doing? I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you, sir. Very well indeed. And the reason why I'm excited to talk with you, Cory, is because not only do we talk about physical scars on Scar Bearers, we also talk about those mental ones. And you are the CEO of the Mental Gym, which really deals with those mental struggles. And so really quick, before we really dive into your story, can you explain, give us maybe a 5-cent tour of what the Mental Gym is?
Sure. I mean, just like we have gyms for our bodies, the mental gym is for your mind. You mentioned struggles. We're not really focused on the struggles so much. We're not therapy. We're not mental health counseling or anything like that. We're all about working with highly functional people who want to move from good to great. So it's a combination of mental well-being, it's personal development and professional development, and it's performance. We call it mental fitness. Usually when we think about fitness, we think about exercising our bodies. Well, this is all about exercising your mind so you can think, feel, make decisions, and perform as the best version of yourself in all areas of your life. So it's pretty cool stuff.
No, it is. And I was very blessed to be a part of it in a recent session that you had. And I do apologize. I did not mean to say that you deal with struggles, a lot like, like all kinds of mental struggles, but you're right. You help people get to that next level of success. And
yeah, exactly.
And as I experienced, you did a great job of that. So what brought you to become the CEO of the Mental Gym?
I mean, this starts back for me, I think a long time ago, with feeling like I had a whole bunch of potential growing up, but I had no idea what to do with it or what direction to point it in or where to start even. I didn't know what questions to ask. I didn't know who to ask them to. It was really frustrating for me. I felt like there was this version of myself I wanted to become and that I could be, and that if I could be that person, I could really make a contribution to the people in the world around me and live a pretty great life. And I didn't know how to do it. And that was something that always stuck with me. It was important for me to figure out what was the difference between kind of getting by and being fine, kind of good. What was the difference between good and great?
Mm-hmm. Did you find yourself comparing yourself to others?
Yes and no.
Why can't I be like this person?
Well, yes and no. I think a lot of the comparisons that were showing up at that time were kind of academic. Like there wasn't a whole lot to compare it to. People get evaluated on grades and academic performance, or maybe on sports and things like that. And I always kind of felt like I could compare myself to them, but I'd probably, in some ways, I just believed I'd be doing myself a disservice because my great thing isn't their great thing. And each of our great things are different. We all have personal greatness, and it's important that we pay attention to that. But on some things, for sure, you compare yourself, especially you're in high school, you're comparing yourself on, am I cool enough? How do I fit in? How do people like me? I don't want to rock the boat, all these things, how do I look? And so, yeah, there was certainly a lot of comparison going on when it came to stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And, I think I just learned early in life that life's not all sunshine and rainbows. I had a good upbringing. My parents were awesome. I had a good family. I had a lot of good things going for me. brought up in a suburban middle class neighborhood. It was a nice neighborhood. But my parents split when I was young for the very first time. I think I was in the second grade. And I just remember thinking, oh, wait a second. This kind of thing can happen. Like your whole life can get kind of thrown for a loop. And then my parents were kind of on again, off again throughout my life, or at least throughout the first part of my life. When I was 16, I contracted a freak rare brain virus that just took me out of commission. So it was like 7 months, no diagnosis, just trying to understand if I was going to live or die. Doctors didn't have an answer.
Wow.
It was a scary time. You had some decisions to make when that's happening, right? You can either let the situation define you or you can define you.
Yes.
But it took 7 months to diagnose it. Now, fortunately, once it was diagnosed, everything was, they were able to treat it. Everything was okay. I kind of got back to living a normal life. But you realize I'd say it's a really humbling experience. Now, where mental well-being came on my radar was my mom. Around that same time, my mom was showing signs, at least to me. She's probably showing signs a lot before that to people who knew what to look for, but signs of mental illness. And my mom really struggled with mental illness as the next few years went on, so much so that I remember getting a phone call one day telling me that mom tried to take her own life, and it freaked me out. It freaked me out. Like I had no idea it was that bad. So she's moms like to protect their kids. Parents like to protect their kids, right? And you try to you don't want to burden them or anything like that. And this was at a time too, people didn't talk about mental illness. There was a big stigma about mental illness and mental health in general. And so she kept it from us. But I got that call and it really rocked me. And then a short time later, I got another call, same thing. Mom tried again. And then a little while after that, I got the call that mom went through with it, that she did it.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. It's one of those things where you just kind of feel helpless. You're like, I have no idea how I could have prevented this. And you're asking yourself, like, what could I have done differently? And how could I have helped her? But like, I knew there was really nothing I could do. And it was scary. One of the things that really freaked me out was, is this genetic? Is this coming for me too? Am I going to end up like my mom? And I realized I had choices to make. One of them was to cross my fingers and hope everything worked out okay and I'd be fine. And that just didn't seem like the best option. It didn't seem like a good bet to make. So the other option was to be proactive. And a little bit at a time, I just started rewiring how I thought and made decisions and behaved. Around the same time that this was all going on, my dad began his battle with addiction. And so now I'm terrified to turn out like my mom, and my dad turned into a very different version of himself. And now I'm terrified to turn out like my dad too.
Was his struggle tied to her situation?
It's hard to say. My parents weren't together by that point anymore. They hadn't been together for a while, but they were still our parents. They still, I believe they still loved each other and cared about each other. And I would say that my dad is probably that typical guy who likes to think that he can work it out on his own and deal with things on his own and maybe doesn't let you know what he's really thinking or feeling because there's a sense of pride to it. And in that, I think that really cost him. So I would say the two were definitely related. I can't say exactly, were they causal? I'm really not sure, but I know that certainly impacted him. And I think he struggled to deal with that. Well, I had a lot of support. I was very fortunate for that. And I think I was able to deal with it quite well, but because of all that support, I just don't know that he had it or he was even looking for it or asking for it. So yeah, I think that was probably a big part of it. And unfortunately that has now defined his entire life since then. So, I've got these two kind of role models in my life that I wanted to be like, and now I don't want to be like. And so it just really became intentional about rewiring how I think and how I make decisions and how I behave and how I show up. And in a little bit at a time, that all started to snowball, compound. All these little adjustments I was making, all these little tweaks, just adding up and adding up and adding up to the point where business was fantastic. I was happier than I'd ever been. My relationships were incredible. people start asking me like, what have you know, what are you doing? What have you figured out that we haven't figured out? And to me, it was really just this system that I had been developing for years by this point. And it just got to a point where I started sharing it with people. I was like, well, here's how I think and make decisions and act, and here's how this all works, and here's how you can do it too. And the more impact that it was having on people, transforming lives and lives and lives and businesses and teams and things like that, I was just so driven to find the best way to share it with people. How do I share this with people? And I believe that taking care of your mind and exercising your mind and working out your mind, it's not the kind of thing you do once in a while. You don't do it once and then do it in 6 months or do it in a year. You got to think about it the same way you think about exercising your body. There needs to be consistency to it. And you wouldn't work out, you wouldn't lift weights or do cardio once or do it for 2 weeks and then be like, okay, I'm all done. I'm healthy. I'm good now. It makes
go for a run one time and do a marathon.
Yeah, exactly. Like none of that makes sense. You don't eat a salad one time, right? It's just like, it doesn't work that way. And so when you add consistency to it though, and anyone who exercises or eats well or does any of that knows that when you add practice and consistency and you make it a part of your lifestyle, you can see a real incredible transformation. And that's what we see. That's what we see in the mental gym. I was right in the middle of a CrossFit class one day. The light bulb goes off. We've got these gyms for our bodies. Why don't we have a gym for our mind? We need a gym for our minds. We need to treat it the same way. And so for 1 hour once a week, you come to the mental gym, you work out your mind, you work on yourself, you become a better version of yourself a little bit every week. That adds up and adds up and adds up. And the transformations are really quite incredible.
So how long has the mental gym been in service?
So the gym started before the gym. I was doing work I called the Personal Greatness Project at the time. And it was a lot of the same work, just kind of in shorter segments, if you will. The gym started itself a little over 2 years ago, kind of in this format. And yeah, since then, just gotten to work with some amazing individuals, working with some really great organizations now for their teams and their leadership teams. And it's been a great little ride.
And it's quite timely that you started this around the pandemic, right? You know, was it right before or after the pandemic hit that you?
Yeah, actually right before.
Okay.
Right before. Yeah, it really had nothing to do with COVID. I was always working on Zoom before and things like that. I always loved that. And yeah, COVID was, I don't know. It timed the way it was timed, I guess, but it just didn't really impact the idea of the gym or getting started.
That it is serendipitous, I guess, in a way.
Maybe.
And so now, how many clients are you seeing on a regular basis?
Well, it depends. We're working with teams as well, right? So within teams and organizations, you're going to have your teams within organizations. Then we've got our core membership of members in the mental gym who come every week and work out together. So that number can really range. But it's more the idea of where we want to take the gym and where we want to grow it to, and how many people can be a part of this, and how many teams and organizations can be a part of this as well, which is really cool. And we've got some big visions of what we want to do with this.
That's great. Now, do you work with everyone yourself, or do you have other trainers that work with people?
So right now I'm doing the training.
Okay.
I design all the curriculum and do all the training myself. I would say that the mental gym is, when you think of companies at their stages, like we're at a certain stage where it's kind of important for me to be doing all of that myself, but shortly looking to expand that roster of trainers and coaches and grow what we do.
Okay. So if we were to look forward into the future a little bit, what kind of person would you look at hiring to be a trainer?
Ooh, that's a great question. So there's a lot of pieces that need to be a part of this. One is that they have to have a coaching background. International Coaching Federation certified is important. Not like straight out of coaching school, someone who's got some miles under them and some real experience doing group training and group coaching. That's not everything, but it's kind of like the prerequisite. This person has to really care about what we do and care about the mission and understand why it's so important to be working on yourself the way that we do it. This person has to be driven by the same core values as us: honesty, accountability, trust, respect. These things are huge for us. They need to be willing to be vulnerable. They need to be willing to look themselves in the mirror. They need to either have or develop grit, growth mindset, resilience. Like, these are pieces of it. And I think the most important thing here, above all else, is that we talk about this idea of living your 10. So your life on a scale from 1 to 10, you're not here to live a 6 or a 7, you're here to live your 10. Any trainer who joins us is going to be committed to the journey of living their 10, so they can be the example and share that with others as well.
I was hoping you would say live your 10, because that is your catchphrase. You have it on your emails, and you say it a lot during your sessions. And I really like it because it's so catchy, because we do live in a linear, a linear scale kind of life. We always base things on out of 5 stars or whatever. So live your 10, I think, is a really good phrase to live by. And if you wouldn't mind, Cory, could you give us just a little snippet of what a session in the mental gym would consist of?
Sure. So every session is new in that it's a new topic or a new idea that we're working on. Each topic does, and each idea does flow with the previous one and the next one. So the real flow to what we do, it's almost like we're having this big, long conversation about life and about the essential skills and tools and mindset to be developing, and the habits. And we just keep working on that. So there's going to be that consistent flow through everything that we do, and that kind of through line. But here's an example. Like this week in the gym, we're working on honesty. This is a really important topic to me. And we might spend 4 weeks, 5 weeks just on this one topic, dissecting it from all different areas and understanding how it works, why we make the decisions that we do, why we think the way we do, which leads to the decisions that we make, and how it impacts who we want to be, how we want to show up, and living our 10s. So we start off every workout with something we call wins. And a win is anything that our members would call a win, which is any sign of progress, any sign of growth, any accomplishment or achievement. We're very big on the idea that, again, I mentioned consistent growth and just incremental gains, small wins. And so some wins are obvious, a big promotion, a big, I had a baby, I got married, like that sort of thing. And other wins are much kind of smaller in magnitude, in that, I this morning routine is working out for me and I'm sticking to it. I'm on a streak of meditation or exercise or something like that. I had an uncomfortable conversation with my team, for leaders with their teams, or with my wife or something like that, and it went great because here's what I did. So those types of things, we get to hear those wins, those little wins, medium wins, big wins, to start off every session, which is such a great way to do it. Then we get into our workout, which is our topic of the day. It could be about, like I said, about honesty. It could be about resilience. It could be about accountability. It could be about, just becoming who you want to be. And there's so many different ways that we address this and work it in, which is really, really cool. And then we wrap up every session with something we call takeaways and gratitude, which is everybody sharing something that's important to them that they're taking away, a light bulb that's gone off, something that they're going to keep working on or thinking about, and something that they're grateful for. And our members also do something called self-work, which is like a little bit of homework. So take what we work on in the gym, put it into practice in your life, try it out, try it on for size, so you're actually living it rather than just like theorizing it. And when you start to live it, and it's kind of on your mind throughout the week, you grow and grow and grow and grow. And next week, we're going to come back, we're going to pick up on that, and we're going to keep going.
Have you ever had a major breakthrough while conducting your own sessions?
That's a great question. Yes. In fact, often I do. Mm-hmm. And it is my favorite way to work on myself, is the mental gym. So because I get to design new curriculum and design new workouts every single week, I'm working on new workouts. And in that, I'm doing the work myself. I'm thinking about this. I'm digging into it. I'm sure, like, how is this showing up in my life? Am I showing up at like an optimal level in my life, or do I have room to grow here? And if I do have room to grow, how can I grow? And why is it important that I grow? Why does this matter so much? So I'm always working on myself along with the members, doing the same workouts, doing the same things. And yeah, it'll happen quite a bit where either I'll hear something come out of my mouth, or one of them will share this great idea, this great insight that they had. And that's such a wonderful part of the gym too, is one of our members the other day compared it to the old Greek philosophers thousands of years ago who used to gather around and discuss together and challenge each other. He's
Mhm.
like, I feel like we do a lot of that in here. And I'm like, yeah, we do. It's important, right? To challenge each other to think. So somebody might say something and I'm like, oh, I love the way you said that. And boom, light bulb goes off for me. And yeah, I definitely have regular breakthroughs in the gym.
I love hearing that because I think that really illustrates the power of the mental gym. That even Cory, the CEO of the mental gym, still has room to grow and is still finding breakthroughs within himself, because that means the members definitely have that room to grow. There is no real ceiling. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, you say you live your 10, but it seems like to me it's more that's it's much about the journey as it is the destination.
Oh yeah, the destination. When's the destination? When you're like 100 years old, right? And you're looking back on
Exactly.
your life and you say, yeah, I lived my 10. Until then, we are living our tens, and it is that journey. It's that process, and we love that it is. We wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah, I've for sure got room to grow, and I hope that that never changes. Like, it wouldn't be fun. We all have so much room to grow, and that's the best part of it. We're all just human beings. We're all just people going through life trying to figure it out the best way we can and navigate the best way we can. And when we're aspiring to be more in our lives and live our tens, we're going to experience a lot of the same challenges along the way, and a lot of the kind of things that we want to work on together and work through together and discuss together. And there's always so much room to grow. And for me, and I think for a lot of us, that's a really exciting part of it.
Yeah, it is nice that to know that yes, it is okay to be imperfect. As I like to say on my show, pass imperfection, go for greatness.
Mhm.
You know, that journey is so important, but also don't be afraid to celebrate those little wins along the way. But always keep reaching higher and higher to see what your greatest potential is. So
Yeah.
besides potentially hiring coaches to help you out in the mental gym, what is coming up that's exciting for you in the mental gym? Anything in the works for the next couple months or so?
Yeah, I'm fortunate to, like I mentioned, be working with some amazing organizations right now who understand the benefit of this work for their people. So getting to work with some amazing teams and leadership teams. There's one team just I'm thinking about right now who I've just loved working with. They're just super high quality, high level people, and they're great leaders, and they want to be their best. And I just respect and admire that in anybody. You want to be your best. I want to help you do that. So getting to work now and be introduced to more forward thinking people first organizations is really exciting, because again, you get to work with great people, and you also get to know that you're helping them further their mission and further what they're doing. And sometimes that's they're up to some real good. So yeah, that's definitely exciting.
Yeah, that does sound very exciting and intriguing, knowing that you are helping these organizations live their 10 and reach higher heights. And
Mhm.
so as we start wrapping up, Cory, where are the best places for people to reach out to you to learn more about you or the mental gym?
I'm on LinkedIn, so if you want to connect with me personally, that's a great place to do it. Cory Chadwick, and our website is mentalgymlife.com. It's a good place to learn a little bit more about the mental gym and what we do. If you want to contact me through the website, you can do that too. Love meeting people, getting to talk mental fitness, and learn more about who you are and who you want to be, and how we can help.
Excellent. And so, as a gratitude guy myself, I love asking people, what is something that at the time it happened, you were unsure about it, or maybe you weren't appreciative of it, but now looking back, you have great gratitude for that event or that situation?
Yeah, it's a wonderful question. I think it's one that everybody should be asking themselves. I guess as a gratitude guy, I don't need to convince you of that. I'm a big gratitude guy myself. The two biggest that stand out are the death of my mom, in a traumatic way, and my father's addiction, and it having such a negative impact on his life and the life of everyone around him. Those things at the time were terrible. They still are terrible. If you ask me, could I go back and change them? For sure, I would. I would love to have my parents back. And knowing that you can't go back and change the past, recognizing the really tremendous positive impact both of those things ended up having on my life. They forced me to think about life differently and approach it differently and make decisions differently. And I don't think that where I am today and where I'm headed to and who I am today and who I want to be, I don't think any of that happens without those two major episodes in my life. So yeah, I'm entirely grateful for them. I really, truly am.
Again, I am sorry for your losses, but I greatly appreciate how you're able to look at them, as lessons and to help you move forward. And I know a lot of people can resonate with your story. And so thank you very much for sharing it, Cory.
For sure.
I do have one more question though. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Oh, my boys are so into dinosaurs now. I got two little boys. They're 3 and 6, and they're loving all sorts of dinosaurs. They're obviously big fans of the T-Rex. I think I got to go with the raptor because as far as I know, the raptor was the smartest dinosaur. And worked and hunted in packs. And I just think that's, I'll go with the raptor.
Sounds good. Yeah, T-Rex definitely is a favorite among my guests, but raptor ranks pretty highly up there as well. So
yeah, I'm also from Toronto, and the Raptors are a basketball team, right? So that that's a little check mark there too.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Well, Cory, once again, thank you so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate not only your story, but also you sharing the mental gym with us and all that you're doing to help people live their 10. So thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you, Chris.
Definitely. And folks, if you want to reach out to Cory, you can check out the show notes below or mentalgymlife.com. Did I say that right, Cory?
Mentalgymlife.com. You got it.
Awesome. All right. And look up Cory Chadwick on LinkedIn. If you want to find out more about me, you can go to chrisdtgordon.com where I talk about the attitude of gratitude. You can reach out to me there or at YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram at Chris DT Gordon, or look at Scar Bearers on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, all the podcast places. Please like, share, and subscribe these messages of hope and inspiration so we can help people, as Cory says, live their 10. Well, folks, as always, I greatly appreciate you being here today with us. Please have a great day. And remember to pass on perfection and go for greatness.